Recording in progress.
There we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our weekly webinar. My name is Eben. I'm from Hikvision South Africa. Today, we're going to be discussing about the IP speaker solution. Some of you have asked for that. If you haven't, sorry, some other people did. But anyway, so we're going to get into it, get cracking. I've got some stuff behind me. We're going to run down the presentation a little bit. First of all, just see if I can get this a little bit bigger. It doesn't look like I can get it bigger, much bigger. Let's see, just want to make sure everyone can hear me. There we go. All right. Okay, so the IP speaker, some of you might be familiar with it, some of you not, but we're going to get into it. So first of all, we're going to run down a few little things of that. There's not a lot, but I've got some live demonstrations to show you guys. One of my apps actually stopped working on my laptop. Yes, this is a office laptop, so my apologies, my PC is not the strongest. But anyway, we're going to get going. So we're going to focus on the background first of all. So under the background itself, I'm sure a lot of you might be familiar with the fact that when you have some sort of security or alarm system, it's kind of helpful, but it informs the control room to say that there's an intruder and the guy carries on. And there's quite a bit of information there, but from my personal point of view and from a South African point of view, we all know how our government is and how things are in our country. Not politics at all. I'm not a politician or anything like that, and I'm not affiliated with anyone, but I'm sure you all know that you've experienced where there was a break-in or someone tried to smash and grab or whatever the case is, and they finally catch the guy. And then 2 hours later, you see him down the road again with the trolley. It's pointless. Let's all face it. Not saying that you shouldn't report. Listen, please report. It does help, but we all know how society is in the moment in South Africa regarding crime. So the best that we can do by reducing the amount of damage to your property or to your premises would be to scare them off. This is ideal. We've used this quite often on multiple different places, especially remote places where it takes us a while to get there. It's kind of nice if you have an IP speaker that can make a loud noise, or you can have your control room operator speak to them outside, obviously saying, hey, you with the yellow shirt, get away there. I can see you, and then they run away. All right, so background, fairly basic, isn't it? So I'm not going to go into far too detailed. I don't want to make it too boring. Let's move on from there. So let's look at the scenarios of where we can use this. Obviously, there's multiple different places where we could use this. We can focus on maybe entry points at certain premises for perimeter protection. So perimeter protection is quite, normal. You can have the camera, have a line. It informs you. It informs the control room, but he still carries on grabbing your stuff and running. So to make that a bit better, there are multiple other ways that we can do it. So if there is an intruder, we can use the surveillance. We can use that kind of equipment to help us to warn off. So when it's connected to an IP speaker, this gives us the capability of scaring them off, right? So very basic. As soon as you have any intruder, they walk into the area, the siren will go off and it will make the noise and basically inform the intruder, the thief, the tsotsi, if we put it that way, telling him to, vacate the property, and then informing the authorities wherever your control room is or wherever that's monitoring the system. So this is kind of nice. So it's very easy, very straightforward. We can also have this as another idea at fuel stations. It's not just for security where they break in and take stuff and get that notification. It's also for the fact that if there's maybe an explosive situation where something goes wrong, warning the customers. This is also another good idea. So you can have a preset recording or a preset setup through Hik Central for that, so which makes life a lot easier. So as soon as something happens, you can warn off all the other people saying, listen, please keep away. We all know how that explosion was with that tanker under the bridge in Boksburg. stuff like that, wherever we can announce to tell the public, please, move away. It helps. So anyway, moving on from there, and then you can get the fire department and they can do their job. For metros or railways, even though we've all seen the news that our infrastructure regarding that, and we're not even going to start touching the fact that regarding our potholes in our country. But anyway, we have multiple different platforms and places where we can make use of this, especially on transport. It doesn't have to be metro or railways. It can be bus stops. It can be taxi areas. There's multiple different things that we can do, providing information towards not just from a security when they steal something, we're all familiar with it, but also from a notification to say that there's something going on, something is happening, please be careful, etc. So making it a lot easier for you. So I think that's pretty basic. So using the surveillance systems with the IP speaker to Hik Central in order to inform what is going on, letting the operator know what's happening. For offices and buildings, again, same principle. Again, it can obviously be used for security. It is designed obviously for security. If there's intruder, warning them, telling them that, listen, you can't be here. What are you doing here? You don't have access, maybe. Welcoming them. Hey, that's another feature that people don't always think about. You can use the IP speaker, so as soon as they start walking towards the building, you can actually welcome them using the IP speaker. So you can use a normal AccuSense camera, draw a line by the front just before they get to the door area, and then you can inform them to say, welcome to our store. Please ask one of the salespeople to assist you, or please let us know if any of the salespeople can assist you, whatever. Or maybe a special. We have, I don't know, whatever the case might be, some sort of specials. For me personally, it will be maybe a special on chocolates. You can get 2 slabs for the price of 1. Oh, joking. All right, moving on from there, very straightforward. So there's a lot that you can do with it. There's multiple different ideas. The nice thing about this is it's not just a normal IP speaker. It allows us to think outside the box now. So I'm sure a lot of you might be familiar with a lot of the videos that we've done regarding the fact that we have cameras with different AI technology. So it's not just AccuSense or line crossings or intrusion detection or facial detection or whatever the case is, number plate. There are cameras that can do a lot more. So we can imagine using cameras with a deep learning algorithm on school areas. Sorry, I had some coffee this morning. So we can use that at school areas. So we all know how schools are. I'm sure a lot of you have been in that situation many, many years back, like some of us, that obviously nowadays things have changed. I can't really say much about that, but there were certain things that happening at school. People were smoking. They were, a little bit of, rolling, fighting a little bit there. There were stuff happening. And the AI technology of our newer cameras assists you by helping you to inform what is happening with the situation. We have special deep learning algorithm AI technology that will see if someone falls down. If they fall down on the ground, it will alert the operator. It will alert whoever you assign to be alerted or notified. If it's maybe in a jewelry shop and they all go hands up, then it will send out a signal and you can connect it to a radio for armed response company, sending them a panic, letting them know that you are in a hostage situation or you are in an armed robbery, whatever the case is. If there's outside the pub, maybe a group of guys, some guy was looking at someone else's wife and maybe had a little bit of a feel of the bum, who knows, and now they're a little bit outside, and if they huddle in a little group, then it will inform a security company by letting them know by using the AI. So there's a lot more. If someone is maybe running down the passage, you're not allowed to run down the passage, especially in hospitals. I'm sorry, that was the one time the nurse and the doctor. Anyway, so you can't run down. So these cameras are designed to warn you, to tell you, and you can link up an IP speaker to that. So if it's a school area, if they are maybe, you know, fighting, one kid is running with a baseball bat chasing another child, that is wrong. No matter how funny that is, it's still wrong. Then if they're smoking, I don't know if anybody is Sherlock Holmes, or they smoking pipes, but if they're smoking at school, I don't think there's anything to worry about nowadays with smoking at school. I think it's mostly vaping. Yes, I'm looking at both my teenagers. Okay, anyway, moving on from there before my wife kills me. So it helps. There's a lot that you can do with it. So announcing whatever that's going on at the area, saying, hey, you're not allowed to. The nice thing is it can be connected to Hik Central. That is our platform. And in Hik Central, with that software, you can have a desktop mic. It's a special mic that we use on Hik Central. And then the teacher or the reception lady can yell at those kids and say, hey, put down that baseball bat. You can see he started bleeding. His mom is going to make a scene. So, you know, very aggressive, isn't it? Anyway, moving on, going on from there. So you can get send people to handle the situation. Yeah, we're going to send someone to handle that situation. Anyway, moving on from there, but you guys get the idea. It's pretty cool. All right. So just a breakdown of that itself. We can have obviously our cameras. We can have access control, our alarm system, our NVR system. Because remember, camera and NVR can be standalone, separate. Anyway, connected to our IP speaker to Hik Central, and there's a lot that we can do. We can do that link it method. So if there's an event, it will link it through to the IP speaker, and whatever you set up will announce. We have that one-way communication audio, so it can send out the audio. Very nice. You can also do an audio plan. So we can do a certain plan with a time and a period, and I'll show you guys that just now. And then we can also do broadcasts, like I said, from the control room, take the microphone and broadcast over the IP speaker through Hik Central. Brilliant, really brilliant. All right, and then just a breakdown of what we discussed, obviously, like I mentioned, just a little bit nice breakdown. You can have multiple different speakers. You can have different speakers for different areas. You can have different announcing. You can use it at so many different places. I don't think I have to really go too far on that, but it's nice. It makes it convenient, makes it easy. It's there. All right. Just a breakdown of the software side of things. So if you have just a camera with maybe PTZs or whatever the case is with your NVR to a switch, you can connect that up to your IP speaker, so which makes it very basic. So we can also have where the fact that we've got maybe access control as well. So to communicate through that. And when we link that, we can link it through certain events of audio. But if we want more than that, like we want that one-way communication, we want that audio plan, we can use Hik Central as a software through the network or a Hik Central server in order to do that for us. So, which is pretty cool. And then moving on from there, obviously we have discussed a little bit of these features. I'm not going to go down this again, explaining all those perimeter protection. I just want to, sorry, they were supposed to be hidden. I don't know why they're not hidden. Okay, so now we know what we can do with the IP speaker. The same for perimeter protection and properties. Same scenario, we can use that IP speaker to inform us, obviously, as we mentioned. I'm just going through the different slides. All right, so for these different type of solutions, just to quickly hammer on that, there's two different apps that you need to use in order to get the linkage of the IP speaker working with your surveillance system as an example. I'm going to use that as an example. So the first app is our IP speaker tool. It's a special tool designed just for that. And then we have the AN Manager program that we have. So the reason why we have the AM Manager program is a lot of you might be familiar with the IBM, my apologies, with the SADP tool. So with the SADP tool, you can pick up all your NVRs, your cameras, your DVRs, and etc. But with that, you can't pick up the IP speakers. It's in a different range as the technology when it comes to the equipment. So we have a special tool that we call the NA Manager that we can use in order to detect what IP speakers is on that network range. So with that, unfortunately, I don't have mine running, but I'm going to show you guys images of that just now. But the nice thing is also to remember when you are using this, you need a special NVR. You need an I-series NVR, not an IDS, an I-series NVR in order to use this functionality on an NVR. So as you can see on the left-hand side bottom, if you do not have that option next to your NAT or your NTP, if you don't have the IP speaker under your network there, then it means your firmware is outdated on your I-series NVR. So you can speak to your representative of Hikvision and they can help you to get you the file to update the firmware of this. If you're not, we have done videos in the past regarding to look at that kind of scenario. Next up is you need to obviously enable it. You can give it a proper name, so you need to know exactly what it is. Then as you can see, you've got username, your password as normal. The IP speakers have two passwords. The first password would be, well, username is admin always. The first password would be admin. The second password normally on the newer models is 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's just 4 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can change it. We recommend obviously you change it, but just for default purposes, it makes it a bit easier. You can obviously add in on your NVR what the IP address is of the speaker. The port will always stay the same as what the SIP phones of Hikvision would be. Yes, we have SIP phones. Yes, and we'll get into that just now. That will be under 8877. Right. The volume you can adjust, you can go all the way up to 100. The best is to link the camera. That's part of that security of the building itself. If you wanted to add a second one, you can. It gives you that capability. It will show you if the device is online or not. If it shows you that the device is not online, we'll get into that stage just now, where I'll show you that on the IP speaker, you need to add in your server or your NVR, the linkage between that. So remember, your NVR needs to know what your IP address is of your speaker, and your speaker needs to know what's the NVR IP address. All right. Moving on from there, you select the camera under your motion or whatever the case that you would like to use it for. You enable it. Once you've done that, you go to linkage. Your play file video or play file format will be there, so you can use that. If there's nothing you need to add, you can link then the IP speaker if you have more than one, and you can go up to, I think it's like 16 on certain channels, depends on the NVR. Anyway, but you can add a lot. All right. But moving on from there. So not just that, very importantly, like I said, so specific NVR, so that will be under maximum of 4. Okay. So you can add up to 4 for normal NVRs. I know with Hik Central is a bit more. You can also upload that MP3 format file. It needs to be MP3 and not more than 10 megs. All right. So it can't be more than 10 megs. A recommended volume would be 70 or above. That's so you can hear it properly. And I've got mine working here. Everything is connected. Like I said, it's only my AN manager tool that's not working. Anyway, moving on from there. So let's just showcase that. If it is Hik Central, there are different methods. I'm just going to quickly run through this one. So if you go through those event linkages, it will give you an option over there, as you can see, for IP speaker. Then you can add your IP speaker, add your notification alarm, whether it's a siren or whether it's intrusion or whatever the case, making it a lot easier. I've got a little video here. Let's see. Okay. All right. So I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm going to show you in any case. Moving on from there. The nice thing is also through that Hik Central itself, it gives us the capability of using the one-way audio itself. So there are multiple different methods that we can use with it. Under the two-way audio, we can select whatever that perimeter audio needs to be. We can also go and add it to our mapping itself. On that itself, it gives us the capability of putting it onto our e-map, so we can see exactly where that is and then select it and immediately play a certain welcome message or whatever the case is. Or under the camera itself, you have that microphone that you can link, and that's what I said from the control room point of view. If your control room does have the stand-up mic, then you can actually talk through that and say, hey, how you doing? Welcome. Just leave the chocolates, please. Anyway, moving on from there. So broadcasting makes it very easy to broadcast whatever message that you would like to broadcast. And then obviously, as I mentioned earlier, the audio planning is also very straightforward. You select the file that you would like to, select the time and date, the day, or whatever the plan is. So every day at certain time periods, it will play that audio file for you, so you can have some sort of schedule, maybe announcing, remember to take your school bags, don't leave your things hanging around, Dad's not going to buy you a new tie again for the third time. Kids leave their tie somewhere at school. Anyway, moving on from there. I'm going to get in so much trouble. All right, moving on, just to quickly run down, we have two different models, and unfortunately, I could not share the image of the new speakers that are coming. We're going to have a lot more availability in future. So we are working on for shopping centers, for malls, for boardrooms. There's a lot that we're working on. Anyway, so very nice design. They are IP rated for indoor and outdoor. They are, yeah, I'm trying to remember the IP rate. Was IP 67 or IP 65. But anyway, it is IP rated. Well, it's IP speakers. It's a speakers designed for indoor and out. And then obviously, as I mentioned, the I-series NVRs, they can be used on, and then you can use multiple cameras and access control devices. And then obviously, as I mentioned, Hik Central Professional, that you can do a lot more with that capabilities. Ta-da! That's it. Okay, let's quickly change this camera angle. Give me 1 second. Yeah, stop that. Let's see. There we go. All right. So behind me, I've got obviously a switch just for my IP speaker. Then I've got a I-series NVR with a monitor behind me itself. And then I've got a camera there. That's a 3-series camera, and I'm just going to take a walk this way, and then it's going to make obviously a noise. I'm going to unplug it so it doesn't, you know, like loud. Anyway, moving on from there, let's quickly go. So on this side, there we go, going. Right, that's just me killing the sound, because otherwise it's not gonna stop. So it's the only file I have, so I'm sorry. So just to quickly let you guys know, if I connect it up and I power it up, there's no LED light to indicate you, but there's a sound LED. Not sound LED, apologies, a sound. So if I plug it in, you will hear the sound. Come on. There we go. So whenever you do any configuration or any settings or any changes, it will do the same effect, if I can put it that way. It will make the same sound. Just to quickly share with you guys how that other program would look like. Let me quickly share the second page to show you guys a little bit more. Share. All right. So this is how that program would look like. So once you open up the program, this is the actual program, as you can see in this image. So you'll have a refresh button, an add button, whatever the case. But if you refresh, the IP speaker will pick up on that and will tell you what the IP address is. Once you double click on it, it gives you the capability of looking at the IP speaker itself. Sorry, my bad. Let me just pull there. So it will give you the information of the IP speaker. Once you are done with the IP speaker itself, why do I have an audio thingy? Yeah, Can you guys still hear me though? Yeah, you guys can. Okay, sorry, my bad. I just got a message here for some sort of audio settings, something. Anyway, so if you go under basics, it will give you the information. So as I mentioned, you can name the IP speaker. Username will be admin. Password would be either admin or mostly 1234 as a default password. Thereafter, you can assign your IP address according to what your network is and what you want the IP speaker to be at. And then obviously make sure that you got your network mask and your default gateway in the range that it needs to be. Thereafter, DNS, you can, we normally use auto, or some people will use 8.8.8.8 as default, or 1.1.1.1, or 8.8.4.4. Yeah, as long as you have that connection. All right, and then under settings of server, there's actually your DVR or your Hik Central, whatever. In there, you'll put in whatever the NVR's username and password would be. The port, like I said, will stay 8877. And then the primary server IP address. So there you put in your NVR or your Hik Central's IP address. Right, then you save it. Once you've saved it, it gives you that capability. Just trying to see, okay, that's it on that one. Let's see if I can get onto this. Boom. All right. So once you log into the IP speaker, because now we know what the IP speaker IP address is, once we've logged in, it will show you the IP address. It will show you, okay, this is my IP address. That's my subnet mask. This is my default gateway. And then you can also put in whatever is needed. Right. Under server, I have to relog in. Sorry, guys. I think it's because I took too long with that. And then password 1234. Let's log in. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Don't pop up. Okay. So moving on from there. So under server itself. So again, like I said, this is the IP address range of my NVR right behind me. So this will give me the capability. And then obviously server user is that admin, and then the password is 1234. Straightforward. Right. Then we also have for SIP phones. Yes, there is the capability of using SIP phones, intercom. We're not going to go into that details. If you need that kind of information, please speak to your Hikvision representative. And then under audio, the output of the dBs, I think it can go to 11. So see? No, 10. Okay, so my bad, only 10. Right, save it. Okay, we'll get to the test button just now because I don't want to jump ahead. But anyway, so then we have other settings for different applications. We can factory default it, we can reboot it itself. We got other security measurements. We got an overview of whatever the firmware is, if we need to change the firmware or update it. So there's multiple different things that we can do with it. Under your NVR site, let's just see if I can get in, if it's not going to throw me. Oh, okay, timed out. Okay, let's see if we can log in quickly there. And then password. Log in. Okay, so under that, is my laptop going? Oh, it is going. Okay, while we're quickly waiting for that, I just want to make sure that that program is busted. I don't know what happened yesterday, but anyhow. So when we get into the configuration of that settings, right, it will give you that option for that. Please make sure that your firmware is up to date on your iSeries model. You can see here I'm using the 7716, but you'll find the IP speaker under Network Basics, and at the back of it, it will be there. So over there, you can confirm your IP address. Again, that's the IP address of the IP speaker. My volume is at 80. My port stays the same. I've got only the one camera to this NVR connected, and it's there. Under events itself, obviously, I've used for this application, I've used line crossing. So give me a second. Let me quickly move to line crossing. line crossing. So under line crossing, I obviously just draw the line just to get it working. And then once that is done, normal, basic. This is a, no, we don't want the plugin tool, not now. So under linkages itself, at the end, you'll see that you'll have the capability of then linking an IP speaker if you need to. It's not showing here, and I wonder why. Okay, but anyway, let me quickly show you guys under basics. Should show. There we go. So that's how it will look like. It will give you the indication. You need to select the tick to say that's what you want. Oh, because I didn't put a file. So there is one IP speaker recording. Let's see. What is that? I'll probably need to enable motion detection then. Some of the techie guys are looking at me going, oh, dude, oh, no. Oh, no, isn't it? Stop laughing. It's not funny. Okay, so we got to do something. Everything is sorted on that. So which means that if we look at the live view, come on. Sorry, my computer is really not the fastest. Okay. Let's wait for that image and then we quickly test it. I don't know what sound that was. Channel there. All right. Okay, let me get up. Oh no. Sorry guys. Sorry. Okay. So let me walk past that area and trigger it again. All right. Okay. Okay, so it's one of the recordings that I did earlier. So I'll show you. Okay, we get it. Let me quickly go and remove that before I go crazy. And we're running a little bit out of our time period. But I got one more thing to show you guys. One more thing. Come on. And then just disable that. Otherwise, you're going to go crazy. Okay, so that's a file, obviously, on my system that I've added earlier. And I want to show you guys how that looks like. Oh, I don't want that. Save. Okay, anyhow, let's just kill all of that. All right, minimizing that. Let's quickly have a look at that program. Where is our tool? Okay, there's our tool. So I've already added this in. Okay, come on. So this is the IP speaker tool. It will look familiar, and all you need to do basically that you need to understand is you need to go and add your NVR IP address, your password of your NVR. Okay, there you have it. It's in the system. So now there is my NVR that's behind me. The nice thing is you can either go and add certain recording files that you already have, right? Or you can go and select it, and then you have a button here that says audio upload. So now I can go to it and I can add an audio. So I can record and I can say, wow, this is amazing, isn't it? And then I can stop it. And then I can play it. Okay, so I think you guys could maybe slightly hear that. I don't know about my volume here. Let's just see. Okay, let's play it again. And I can say, oh, this is amazing, isn't it? Okay, so now you've got that recording files itself. Everything is there. There's a lot more that you can do with it, but we're obviously focusing on just the bare front end of this. All right, so that is basically it in a nutshell. You guys still wanted to see the IP speaker. Let me plug out this one and show you guys a little bit. So normal IP speaker, it's got the Hikvision name on it. It's got a little bracket here at the back. And then obviously the model number. Underneath here, there's a little grommet. that screws off a little casing with a little grommet. And in there, you'll have just the network cable. And now my finger is too big to fit in there, isn't it? Well, trusting tool. There you go. Okay, all right. So let me just pull out the network cable. Yeah, that's kind of like blonde. Sorry, honey bunny. Okay, so it gives you the capability then. And let's try and get this camera angle working, dude. Okay, yeah. So you got, no. Okay, so if you can see, so in there you got your network plug, and then you have a reset button and a micro SD slot. The micro SD slot goes up to 32 gig, and then the reset button is obviously just to reset it. And the last thing is this is pushing out 118 dBs. Yeah. All right, so that is it. There's nothing more. So, okay, if you have any questions, please stay behind for the Q&A. I hope this was interesting, and I hope it helped a little bit. And thank you for joining. For the rest of you guys that are not on YouTube, see you guys next week. And for the guys who would like to stay behind for the Q&A, do so. Enjoy the rest of your week. All right, cool.